years. I mean, we've been out here for 5 years now, really trying to decipher what do I want to share? What do I...
Which you can't do legally, but you want to print it and paint a completely different picture of who I am and my...
You alerted me, Kinsey, over the weekend to what I consider to be a very dubious report in one of the Sunday papers, saying that Netflix, far from the reports we've been seeing that they've had it with Harry and Meghan, they're cancelling the contract. We've been seeing that they've had it with Harry and Meghan, they're cancelling the contract.
Have you ever noticed how the most significant secrets are always hidden from view? For example, Meghan Markle reportedly had to lean into Harry and whisper, "Who's that next to your grandma?" while she was only a few feet away from Queen Elizabeth. Really? She didn't recognize Prince Andrew, are you telling me? The same man who has spent decades walking with the Queen, appearing on magazine covers, and being broadcast at royal events? No. Meghan was either playing dumb or she was the most ignorant royal girlfriend ever. You see, this isn't just one awkward question. This involves a lengthy series of receipts, connections, private flights, enigmatic scrubbed interviews, and some startling coincidences that make you question whether Meghan actually knew Andrew or if she knew him too well. Let's go back more than 10 years to a chilly winter evening. One journalist from the United Kingdom recalls having a drink with Meghan Markle when she was still lusting for attention and trying desperately to break into the British press. He took the bait, but no other journalist did. He also claimed that Meghan wasn't the self-assured future Duchess. Quiet and calculating, she talked about her difficult love life and messy divorce. She then mentioned Ashley Cole, the football player who gained notoriety for his wild ways and his tumultuous split from Cheryl. Her face fell when she discovered that the journalist was fully aware of Ashley's personal life. She wasn't there for a date. She was looking for press plugs. Ashley Cole was merely a stepping stone to her desire to be noticed.
It all started with a joke. Just one offhand line from Colin Jost during Weekend Update on SNL.
For Meghan. Well, I would ask to that story, why? Why would they be doing this? She's failed at every turn. And on the same day, this...
Hold on, there's more to the pattern. Meghan has consistently asserted that she studied in Argentina for a semester while in college. Fair, but it appears that she immediately moved to Spain after her brief stay in Buenos Aires. No mention of a host family or formal school exchange. Nevertheless, the foreign university proudly shared that it had hosted Meghan Markle. Meghan, however, never discusses it. Why? Since most students wouldn't venture into those circles without a billionaire's invitation, those months were spent traveling, yachting across the Mediterranean. Meghan allegedly went off the grid in 2001 while in Thailand with rich men, according to former sorority sisters. The name that appears? Elias Joan. Although you won't see his name on the news, he is well known in elite circles. He is very close to Prince Andrew. They are so close that in 2001 they traveled to Thailand together. Imagine this now. A young, ostensibly impoverished Meghan Markle quitting college in the middle of a semester to go on lavish yacht trips and international adventures. Elias, meanwhile, is known to attend Meghan's sorority parties in the US and mingle with students who are enamored with the actress. Because it gets even messier. Are you beginning to notice the web? Let's fast forward to 2012. Meghan, who isn't exactly a big star yet, appears in Hong Kong. Suits wasn't even that large, but here she is. First-class treatment, business class, ostentatious interviews, and apparently royal status in the building. Meghan mentions that royals were present during her visit to Hong Kong in a video that was once available but has since mysteriously vanished. Can you guess who else was also confirmed to be in Hong Kong at the same time? Yes, Prince Andrew. Additionally, nobody is denying that they met up, particularly Meghan, who has been eerily quiet about the entire trip. Are you feeling the vibe yet? Because there is more depth to this rabbit hole. And as time goes on, this supposedly innocent, "who's that next to your grandma?" question begins to resemble a performance, one that assisted in rewriting her past in a way that was slick and acceptable. However, revealing the connections, travel trends, and conveniently lost footage presents a completely different picture. You haven't even heard the wildest parts yet, I assure you. The number of exclusive doors Meghan Markle was able to pass through before anyone even knew her name is almost uncanny.
So here's the thing. Every time you think the Meghan Markle circus can't get any messier, someone lobs another grenade.
Consider the 2013 Novak Djokovic Foundation Gala in New York, a charity function so prestigious that it attracted celebrities, fashionistas, and members of the Hollywood elite. Prince Andrew, Fergie, Eugenie, Anna Wintour, Naomi Campbell, and Goldie Hawn were all present. Meghan Markle is hidden somewhere in the background. The worst part is that there aren't any official pictures of her. Not at all. Only rumors that she was there in some way, that her connections, not her credentials, allowed her entry. She wasn't the main attraction. In terms of press coverage, she wasn't even listed as a guest. However, she was present. In a sea of billionaires, designers, royals, and power brokers, how does a once minor Suits TV actress, who hardly received 134 minutes of total screen time, find herself? Just as Meghan appeared in the same upscale establishments, Prince Andrew was unexpectedly seen in New York winning and dining with his daughter Eugenie, while ostensibly on a government-sponsored trip to Southeast Asia. There was only a pattern of them both being in the same places at the same time, quietly, without any official statements or media attention. Meghan's golden ticket to the upscale club scene is her connection to Soho House. Soho House was more than just an upscale hangout. For the wealthy, well-known, and strategically aspirational, it served as a networking platform. Those circles were frequented by Prince Andrew, Prince Harry, Fergie, and Eugenie. Meghan? Before she became a royal, she essentially lived in those rooms. Private members-only cocktail nights, yacht parties, fashion shows, and charity galas. Always on the brink of visibility, but always in the mix. She was never seen enough to spark curiosity, only enough to leave an impression. The media was unaware of Meghan's identity when she traveled to Turkey in 2015 to open Soho House Istanbul. When a picture of her with Eddie Redmayne appeared online, the Daily Mail named all the celebrities except her by name. They didn't even bother to look her up because she was so unknown. That is deliberate obscurity, not merely anonymity. No fingerprints were left behind, but the location and people were correct. Nevertheless, one name always hovers close by behind each of these appearances: Andrew. The network is tight, whether it's Andrew going to the same private events or his closest friends, like Joan Elias, showing up during Meghan's formative years. Joan wasn't your average billionaire. He had connections at the Epstein level. He traveled, hosted, and provided funding for people like Prince Andrew. Furthermore, it was no accident that he was accepted into Meghan's sorority. That scene pleased him. He had a reputation for luring girls out of that particular social circle and exposing them to the glitzy side of worldly prosperity. Meghan was ideal because she was attractive, motivated, and prepared to move quietly. It wasn't just Andrew's people either. Karine Shuliak, one of Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriends, was one of the people Meghan was connected to. There is photographic proof that Meghan, Karine, and Deepak Chopra were on a Mediterranean yacht trip. Yes, you read correctly. Deepak Chopra, the same Deepak who made a public post in 2021 about mentoring women for Meghan's 40th birthday campaign. But you know what? Leaked documents pertaining to Epstein's covert charitable networks also contain his name. Now that Deepak, Karine, Meghan, and other celebrities are yachting together in the Mediterranean, do you believe that this is merely a coincidence? And to add fuel to the fire, do you recall the notorious wedding in Jamaica? The one where Meghan received a private jet from Ron Burkle, a co-owner of Soho House, while Harry traveled in economy. There was Eugenie. Fergie was present. According to reports, Prince Andrew was present. Again, though, no pictures. They wished to remain unseen. Insiders were aware that the Yorks were lurking behind the scenes while the media concentrated on Harry and Meghan. Are you beginning to notice it now? Meghan wasn't stumbling into life as a royal. Years before she made her public debut, she was navigating power circles, whispering about in private charity circuits, being connected to dubious billionaires, and conveniently showing up wherever Andrew and his people went. This was no FAI or I-tale. It was a plan. Wait until you learn the truth about what actually transpired during those months that were missing in Spain if you think that's crazy. Spain was intended to be a brief digression between internships and Meghan's return to Northwestern, a footnote in her polished resume. However, as you dig deeper, that purported study abroad experience begins to appear to be the focal point of something much more ambiguous. The official record, i.e. University's 3-month cultural program. The true tale? No one genuinely knows where she stayed, who she stayed with, or why she was there. No classmates, host family, or pictures ever surfaced. Nothing. It seems as though those 3 months were completely erased, much like her Hong Kong interview that mysteriously disappeared from the internet. We do know that Meghan told her sorority friends that she was sailing around Europe at that time, hopping yachts with billionaires. She claimed to have visited Thailand. She claimed to have met strong men who had transformed her life. That timeline now begins to fit too closely with the time when Andrew and Joan Elias were traveling through Asia and the Mediterranean, bringing their favorite guests along for the ride. But no one believed her at the time. It sounded like a wild brag. Additionally, Meghan was surrounded by unusual names at that time. These were individuals such as Karine Shuliak, who were deeply involved in Epstein circles. It was no coincidence that she was on those same yachts as Meghan. According to reports, Shuliak was Epstein's final committed girlfriend. She was in, not a guest at the party. And that photo of Meghan and Shuliak on the yacht wearing the Panama hat, it's not a vacation photo. That provides a glimpse into a world that most people only learn about from transcripts of court proceedings. Then there is Deepak Chopra once more, who is constantly in a strangely public yet untouchable orbit around Meghan, mentioning her mentorship initiative and posting about her birthday, but also connecting to the same charity networks connected to Epstein that were surreptitiously transferring funds behind the scenes. It's receipts, not slander, actual ones. And the amount of crossover is unsettling. The fact that Andrew continued to show up at private events where Meghan happened to be there was even more disturbing. Hong Kong, New York, London, the Djokovic Gala, Istanbul, and Soho House. Andrew was present but off camera each time, and Meghan was invited but never showed up. That's access, not fame. Meanwhile, Harry was clueless. He purchased the humanitarian image, the charity work, and the Instagram story when he eventually got to meet Meghan. However, this was not a romantic comedy. Through his uncle's inner circle, this woman had already been quietly and strategically circling his world for more than 10 years. The connections aren't the only thing that draw attention, it's the quiet. Even though they would have given her a more positive image, Meghan never brings up Spain, Thailand, yacht trips, host families, or private jet invitations. You would think she would boast about her international travels and sophistication. However, she doesn't say anything because too many of those memories are associated with people that nobody wants to talk about. Upon taking a broader view, it becomes evident that Meghan did not become a royal by accident. She moved into it, accurately, with ease, with a series of links that all led to one unsettling reality.
Cool, she's reportedly desperate for new gigs. Absolutely anything she can do to make up for the $100 million Netflix deal that's gone. Some are suggesting
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry officially become connected to one word: sucks.
Prince Andrew and Meghan were made public. The headline says that. The line that stops you cold is that one, because these two names don't seem to belong together in a sentence. The Hollywood actress Meghan Markle married into the royal family. The Queen's disgraced son, Prince Andrew, was plagued by scandal. They are completely different. Tom Bauer then drops receipts, tiny tidbits of history, dates, journeys, and faces that appear in inappropriate places. As you begin to piece together those receipts, you come across a question that is so startling that most people are afraid to ask it aloud. Since 2012, have Meghan and Andrew been connected? The whisper is that. That's the line that lingers like smoke in the atmosphere. I've been hooking up since 2012. The words seem unattainable. The issue is that once you hear them, you can't stop hearing them. We discover a trail that repeatedly leads back to Andrew's world when we follow Meghan's journey before she ever met Harry. This isn't just idle gossip. This includes timetables, receipts, and witnesses. Let's go right back to the beginning. The first oddity occurs within Buckingham Palace itself, not at a party or on a yacht. Meghan and Harry are standing beside the world's most powerful grandmother, the Queen. "Who's that standing next to your grandma?" Meghan whispers as she turns to face Harry. The man? Harry's uncle and the Queen's real son, Prince Andrew, had been in the public eye for decades, for better or worse. Meghan, however, asserts that she was unaware of his identity. The Queen wasn't the Queen to her, she was merely Harry's grandmother. Harmless, uncomplicated, and disengaged. She wanted to look that way anyway. The twist is that it gets more difficult to accept that Meghan didn't know Andrew's identity the further back in time you go through her story, and that harmless IQ, Irie begins to resemble a performance. Meghan was just another budding actress before she became Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex. Years before Suits made her famous, a British showbiz journalist recalls having a drink with her. His description is remarkable, low-key, quiet, and completely focused on obtaining media attention. She didn't hide it. She desired recognition in Britain. She desired for her name to appear in the documents. She desired entry. She was already planning strategically. She discussed dating difficulties, her divorce, and even football player Ashley Cole. Meghan's face fell, though, as if she had been caught playing a card she didn't want revealed when the journalist brought up the messy divorce rumors involving Ashley. Meghan was still experimenting with handles and doors to see which one would open. Access was always the aim. Her path soon intersected with circles much larger than British football. Here comes Ewan Elash, a name that most people are unaware of, but that insiders discuss. Billionaire, world traveler, and close friend of Prince Andrew, who allegedly introduced him to Thailand trips long before Jeffrey Epstein's scandals became widely known. This is where Meghan's story intersects. At Northwestern, her sorority was about more than just sisterhood and parties on campus. Later, some sisters remembered Meghan going missing for weeks at a time and coming back with wild tales of opulent weekends, wealthy friends, and Mediterranean yacht trips. Ewan was one of those names that was murmured in the background. It was no accident. In 2001, Meghan acknowledged that she had visited Thailand, a trip that coincided suspiciously with Andrew's own dubious travels. Years later, Meghan would be seen on yachts with Karina Sholok, Epstein's then-girlfriend, and other people connected to Andrew's social circle in pictures and rumors. It's not neat how the picture forms. If you only look at each piece, it's disorganized, broken, and simple to ignore. Zooming out, however, reveals Meghan subtly rubbing up against the world Andrew inhabited long before she ever appeared in front of Harry. Meghan Markle's resume appears professional on paper. She pursued a degree in theater. She spent 5 weeks as an intern at the U.S. Embassy in Argentina. She is tidy, professional, and well-respected. She graduated from Northwestern. This is the detail, though, that she never discusses. She went to Spain for a 3-month study program immediately after Argentina. It is confirmed by university records. The dates coincide. However, Meghan has never brought it up herself. No pictures, no heartwarming tales, no post about the host family that changed their lives. Nothing. Why? Because those 3 months weren't about books or studying abroad, according to friends from the sorority. They were about private villas, Mediterranean yachts, and travel that was out of reach for an unheard-of student actress. Weeks would pass before she returned with tales of hanging out with jet-setters, billionaires, and royalty. Her friends at the time believed it was all over the top, too crazy to be true. However, those wild stories began to sound a bit too accurate, yes. Hours later, when names like Prince Andrew's billionaire friend Ewan Elash started to appear in relation to the same regions and timelines, what exactly was Meghan up to during those months she was absent? Let's fast forward to 2012. Meghan is dressed in Suits. She isn't a lead. Her billing isn't at the top. She gets a few lines per episode and is, at most, the background attorney. Nevertheless, she has managed to fly to Hong Kong in business class as though she were the star of the show. She is mingling with prominent figures in the media. She receives star treatment. The most peculiar detail of all follows. The interview she did with Diva Universal has been erased from the internet. Meghan mentioned royalty, not the royal family, but Prince Andrew in particular, in passing in it. Unbelievably, Andrew was confirmed to be in Hong Kong at that precise moment. Although witnesses at the event reported seeing them in the same lounges, dinners, and gatherings, there is no official record of them being spotted together, no headline, and no press photo. We keep noticing this pattern. Meghan moves through prestigious settings while almost completely disappearing, leaving only hints that raise suspicions. Meghan Markle had established a peculiar persona by 2015. She wasn't an actress on the A-list. She wasn't the star of the red carpet. Nevertheless, she continued to appear at the most prestigious locations. Consider the Soho House grand opening in Istanbul. Hollywood celebrities, royalty, and elites were drawn to it. Meghan and Eddie Redmayne posed for a picture which was later published in the Daily Mail. The worst part is that, aside from Meghan Markle, they named every single person in that picture. The press could hardly see her. According to reports, Prince Charles and Harry were both in Turkey that same weekend. It's a strange overlap. The billionaire Ron Burkle, the man behind Soho House, is even more telling. The same Ron Burkle who allegedly took Meghan on a private plane to Jamaica for a wedding. The same Burkle who has close connections to Andrew's social circles. Burkle made things possible that others couldn't. Meghan, she walked right through them. It was more than just upscale parties. The yachts, one of Andrew's darkest circles, were touched by Meghan's presence. A picture shows Meghan wearing a white Panama hat while sitting on a Mediterranean yacht's deck and grinning next to people whose names make people uneasy today. Jeffrey Epstein's then-girlfriend, Karina Sholok, was present. It was said that Epstein himself was in the area. Prince Andrew may have joined along part of that route too, according to some accounts. This isn't a tabloid photo, it's not a paparazzi flurry, it's a silent, private scene that only becomes apparent years later when people begin to piece things together. And again, Meghan is right there, present but not prominent. Few people see it, and even fewer remember it. Meghan was navigating another power network, fashion, when she wasn't cruising yachts or sneaking into private parties. She wore labels owned by Harvey Weinstein's ex-girlfriend, attended Fashion Week shows, and socialized at a Royal Ballet presentation in New York. It appeared to be networking at first glance. However, the specifics are important. She wasn't given credit as a TV star in the media. She wasn't presented as a famous person. She was just a model actress. Why is that important? Because Meghan wasn't getting up on her own. The proper handshake was crucial as she was positioned, led, and ushered into circles. Furthermore, those circles weren't arbitrary. They kept bringing up Andrew's world, billionaires, insiders, and those with the kind of access Meghan desired. After that, Harry went to a wedding in Jamaica. Meghan, however, arrived in style thanks to a private flight taken by none other than Ron Burkle, while Harry took economy. Prince Andrew, Fergie, and Eugenie are on the guest list. But if you look for pictures, you won't find any. No, Andrew. No, Fergie. No, Eugenie. Although they were present, they were purposefully kept out of the public domain. Although she was not formally recognized, Meghan was once more inside the circle, uncredited but present. It's the same pattern over and over. She doesn't just happen to be involved in these events. She is brought by someone. She is protected by someone. When necessary, someone removes the trace. The story is now indisputable. Meghan's path wasn't arbitrary. It was a purposeful foray into Prince Andrew's inner circle. She was present at every event but never fully visible. From Epstein-related yachts to Soho House parties, from deleted interviews to unseen gala appearances. And the insiders weren't surprised when she eventually wed Harry. They weren't even shocked. That it had taken this long was the only surprise. Therefore, it's not about a single picture or a single rumor when Tom Bauer drops his receipts and rumors about Meghan and Andrew hooking up since 2012 begin to circulate. It has to do with a presence pattern that goes back many years. Perhaps it wasn't innocence at all to not know who Andrew was. Perhaps it was the most calculated thing she had ever done.